Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Thank you so much for joining us. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. Make sure you check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com. Go find us everywhere. We're on, obviously, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, and Hive. Got it all. All right, babe. What's up? What's up? Can I get a what?
What's up with what?
Just what's up with you? How are you doing?
I exist.
Okay, well,
That's about it.
I mean, I guess that's good.
It's about it, whatever that's worth.
All right, then. Well, bringing lots of hype and energy
I know,
there.
right?
Sorry.
I'm kind of in a bleh.
Okay, well, we only have a few movies to talk about this week, so we will get to that. What do you want to talk about first?
Whatever you want.
Is it okay if we go in this order?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Like those two that we're going to talk about, they don't even come out until like
this one?
The 30th. No, the two.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh.
But we're going to just do them today because we didn't have anything else. We just watched them.
Yeah, so. We just watched it. So it's
when we
fresh.
watched them, I thought they was this week, and then I realized we had a whole nother week. We could have waited.
Oh.
But I didn't realize it. So but I'm glad it's over with.
Let's just get into it. Okay, he is referring to the Mean Girls musical movie based on the Broadway musical, not to be confused with, the original Mean Girls, and it is not Mean Girls 2 that nobody saw.
But Tim Meadows is in all three of them.
Yes.
He's the only person that shows up in all of them.
Yeah. So we did watch Mean Girls, the original, with Lindsay Lohan.
Had you seen it before?
I had.
Okay.
And back to back with Mean Girls, the movie musical.
It was a lot.
It was a lot of Mean Girls yesterday. A lot. Maybe too much.
Whoa.
So tell me, sir, what are you thinking?
Well, I can tell you this. I'm not really a big fan of Lindsay Lohan.
I know you're not. I am.
Not because of any problems or anything else. It's just, I don't care about Freaky Friday. I don't care about Mean Girls. I just didn't, none of them connected with me about anything. And I mean, I like the original Freaky Friday, but even that movie, I'm like, you know, you've seen one change in place movie, you've seen them all kind of thing.
Right.
But I will say, like with Mean Girls, I remember it being funny, but even then I was just like, I never understood why everybody was so about it. But revisiting, I will say I did enjoy it way more than I remembered. It's funny.
You were laughing. You were cracking up.
Yeah, it maybe I connected with it in a different mindset than I did when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
But I did enjoy it. I see the appeal of it. I see why it holds up as kind of a classic comedy kind of thing. You know, and everybody's finding it. I also like seeing these old movies when you see young actors and actresses.
Yeah.
Before they were like the status they are today, and you're like, oh, I forgot that person was here, and I forgot, oh, they're in this, and that kind of thing. So the nostalgia aspect is always a fun thing.
Yeah. It's really fun.
Your thoughts upon revisiting it?
I still like it. I've always liked it. It's one of my, I don't say it's one of my favorites, but I do like Lindsay Lohan. I used to watch everything. Like I just talked about the one during St. Patrick's Day.
I know.
I'll watch anything she's in. I've always been a fan. I even liked the show where it showed kind of her breaking down and going crazy. I'm a fan. You know, I think she's cute. I always have. I thought she was a good actress. You know,
I don't deny that she was a decent actress. I don't even deny that she's cute. You know, I don't think she's as cute. Like it's always hit and miss, and I hate saying.
Is it because she's a redhead?
Did I have a problem?
Yeah.
No, I actually like redheads.
Okay.
I don't think it's because they're cursed or evil.
They're gonna suck
I mean,
your
they
soul
are,
or
but
whatever.
I don't think redheads are sexy. But
really,
a light bulb just went out. How bad is our view? Not too bad. We're going to have to go with this because the light bulb just went out while we're in the middle of the show.
I can put the light up.
No, we'll leave it. We're fine. It's not horrible. It's fine.
Wow.
It's an intimate show.
Is it? Let's adjust for brightness.
But that was weird.
Because I was just thinking, man, we need to change that light bulb. Now we got to change too.
Well, I need to go to the other one. Anyway, but no, so I thought it's fine. And this one, she's obviously the younger aspect. And I thought she was fun. She has good comedic timing. I think she's a good actress. I think she's one of those that, you know, it was a shame what she went through, but I'm glad to see that she's kind of found herself and making a comeback. Didn't she buy a hotel or something, or was that
maybe? I mean, she lives in Dubai. What do I know?
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I did enjoy the original. I'm glad I gave it another chance and revisited it.
I'm glad too.
I'm not glad that we back to that was a lot.
It was a lot of Mean Girls.
Anyway, so the other reason we rewatched the original was not just to prepare to watch the new one, is they are releasing a 20th anniversary 4K edition. So it's the first time it's been released on 4K. So we watched it in glorious 4K.
We did.
It doesn't do much for the movie. I mean, it looks nice. It's a great transfer, that kind of thing. But it's not the kind of movie that really benefits, I guess, from 4K, other than just looking great. I mean, I guess that's it. So anyway, from there, then we lead into the new one, which, as my lovely co-host here said, is based on the Broadway, which all of these involve Tina Fey. So Tina Fey was the writer, producer, co-writer. I think somebody else wrote with her, but clearly she's the one that's leading the charge of the original one, this one, the Broadway musical itself. She's at one point she was even talking about directing this. There's been a sequel discussion for years, not the one that nobody watched, but another one with the original cast. It's just never happened. So this new one is based directly on the musical, so it is slightly different. It's the same story, the same characters,
A little different,
but some of the
here.
scenarios are different. Some characters are missing, some are changed. So you got to know that going in and not think this is just a remake of the other movie, because it's not.
It's similar to how when we watched
Color Purple,
based on the Broadway musical, which that one though was fantastic.
Yeah, and unlike the Color Purple, this did not have the same impact to me as the other movie.
I agree.
I did love that Tina Fey and Tim Meadows returned to play the same characters, but they're also in a different state. And
they've evolved.
A lot of the changes I think were also changed to the times. So there's a lot of stuff involving text messages and cyberbullying and that kind of stuff. So those kind of changes make sense. But there's some other stuff that, when you're reimagining, I guess you do what works for the stage. And there's like her dad character is omitted from the movie.
I guess they didn't need
but
it.
It's interesting. I do want to say, before I let her thing, I don't mean to bogart all the time.
No, go ahead.
But I am typically not a fan of musicals. And when I keep saying that, but then I end up liking a musical that comes up. But my issue is I predominantly don't like musicals that, one, sing every single dialogue. I hate those with a passion. But my problem with musicals isn't people's ability or even the songs a lot of times. It's how it ends up taking away from what is there, meaning the impact. Whereas The Color Purple, that was my big fear of that movie, that was going to lose the impactfulness of that story. And I think there was a lot of it that enhanced it in another way and made it end up being a great movie on its own. Is it better than the original? No. But it is an amazing movie on its own in a different way, while both convey the same power.
Correct.
If that's means anything. This one, it kind of lost me early on.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree. I prefer the original Mean Girls with Lindsay Lohan to this, if I'm comparing those two.
Yeah.
Now, maybe if I'm at the show, the Broadway musical, watching it, and the way that's cut, it might be different than this. Because with the movie, they've got to add a few transitional things or change some things to the musical to make it flow different.
Right.
And I feel like, in a way, we're missing out on some of the performance that we would get if it was on stage.
Yeah. I think I would be bored with the stage production too, just because the story it wouldn't pull me in, being a musical one. I probably would never go see it anyway, but I get it. I get how this would translate on the stage.
I think we're missing something, because I feel like when you're seeing the show, but when you're seeing the show, like right now, like the main girl, the main bad girl, Regina, Renee Rapp, who plays Regina in this one, I feel like she's a lot of it, she's sitting, contained singing, whereas if she was on a stage, we'd see that, we'd get all this.
Yeah, she did the Broadway show.
Yeah, and so I feel like I'm missing out a little bit. The people, though, that stood out for me on this one were the two friends, Janice and Damien, who is Alilu Karavela, who's the voice of Moana, basically. Moana was there.
Was that Ambantika? Is that the other girl?
That's the other girl.
Yeah,
friend.
She was my
She's
favorite.
Super good. See, and I liked Moana and Jaquel Spivey. He was the best.
Oh, you're talking about her friends. Sorry, I'm talking about the bad friends.
Yeah, you're talking about the other girl that's on the picture.
The main girlfriend of Ambantika, whatever her real name is.
Yes.
She's the only one in the movie that I really enjoyed.
And she was funny.
And her song, she has a song early on at the party, was cracking me up.
Yeah.
The rest of the music I didn't care about. I thought the two friends were fine.
The two friends, well, because it's Moana and this other guy who hasn't done very much, but he's amazing.
Is he a Broadway person?
Yeah, mostly. Oh. So they're amazing. Of course, it's Moana, but yes, of her friends, like I didn't particularly care for the main girl playing Regina. Sorry. I kind of liked McAdams, Rachel McAdams.
See, and I'll flip on that. I actually like this girl better, but I liked. There's elements of both.
Yeah.
Like the other one is playing a very much a Barbie.
Yes.
A prissy rich Barbie. This version is playing more of a kind of this hip, almost
she's
tough girl.
Stronger. Yeah, she's a stronger.
Yeah, she's a stronger woman. I actually like this girl too because she also, at the risk of sounding like a chauvinist, she got some meat on her bones. She looks like a normal woman. She doesn't look like she's pretty. And she can be sexy, but she can be kind of homely when she wants to be. But she looks like a normal person. She's a fully
empowered woman.
Yeah,
but maybe that's what threw me off because the others were more teenager looking. I don't know.
She does. This one doesn't look as much like she should be in high school either.
Yeah,
but none of them in this cast look like, except for the main girl, is the only one that I kind of would buy that was in high school.
Which I like her,
and I'm pretty sure she's probably not.
Injury Rice, I like her.
But yeah, I just think she's done. I didn't dislike this movie.
No, it
I just lost interest early on.
Yeah.
And so, and to be honest, I just assumed it was me initially because, again, I didn't know if it was the musical aspect. I didn't know if it was just I was Mean Girls'd out. There was nothing there other than there are some very cool transitions. Like I think the opening transition of the setup, like they changed who's telling the story, which I thought was clever, the narrators, because they're using social media and TikToks and stuff like that to tell it, which is I also thought was very clever, updated use. But there's this cool moment of transitioning from Africa to the present day, the U.S. that I thought was really cool, well done. So then it gave me hopes, like, oh, this movie might be kind of fun in just that aspect, and they don't really do that much anymore. And it's like, it just didn't overall work for me. I didn't hate it. I could see how people would be enjoying it. The music and the dancing and the whatever, I get it. It just didn't work for me.
It's just, to me, the two main friends at the beginning that start the movie, they were everything for me.
Yeah, they were great in the movie. They were fun to watch.
Yeah.
But I like that Tim Meadows and Tina Fey seem to have they have a different chemistry, but they seem to have a little bit to do while doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So, but there's some scenes that were omitted that I think were important for the original, but I get it for the Broadway version. But when you do a movie version, I think that gets lost a little bit because I think it still has that time. The amount of time this movie takes anyway, there's a lot of those little excerpts that I think we should have still got. And I don't know, maybe I just was so not paying attention that I missed some of them too.
Yeah, I'm just feeling like I need to see Mean Girls, the musical, on Broadway, and I would probably like that better than the Mean Girls movie version, which is
maybe
so
you
bizarre.
should watch Mean Girls 2, and then you'll appreciate this one better.
No one
you know what's going to happen is you're going to go watch Mean Girls 2 and you're going to like it.
I'm going to be like, oh, this is so cute.
You're going to end up liking it.
But, and it's curious because I know we're talking about a little comparison of when we watched Color Purple, the musical movie based on the Broadway musical. But I think that what they did with that is they were able to take the Broadway thing and expand it.
Yeah, they didn't make it like it's on Broadway. You could see
this one. You could tell they cut things out.
Yeah,
to make the movie.
This one looked like the only transition they did is gave it a bigger space to work in, not made their movements bigger.
That one, like we have the big outdoor areas and production and stuff. So I don't know. This
felt like Glee the movie.
Yeah, pretty much. If I'm gonna pick a Mean Girls, I'm picking Lindsay Lohan. There you go.
Well, I'm not picking Lindsay Lohan, but I'll pick the first movie.
Yeah, I'm picking her.
So again, it's not a bad movie. It's fine. If you like the original one, you may enjoy this one.
If you've seen it on Broadway, you're gonna like it.
Yeah, so give it a chance. If you like the movies, both of them are getting released on 4K, and they're also releasing a digital. I think it's already out. A digital 2-pack, so you get both movies digitally. So if you're a Mean Girls fan, now's your chance to get some cool new versions of them and whatever. They're both hitting the 4K and Blu-ray and all that whatever on April 30th. So not this coming week like we normally do. We did a little early on this one.
Sorry, we're early.
Yeah, to get it out of the way because we didn't have anything else.
All right. All right, tell me about this movie you saw. I'm so excited to hear about it.
So the next one is Guy Ritchie's latest movie. If you don't know who Guy Ritchie is.
Who's Guy Ritchie, babe?
Guy Ritchie is a director.
Wasn't he married to Madonna?
I believe
That's the only thing I know about him, which is
I believe
so.
so.
Sad.
But he
apologize.
directed the Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr. He did the Aladdin movie.
Mm-hmm.
He did Wrath of Man with Jason Statham.
Yeah.
More recently, he did not recently. He did The Gentleman, which was one of my favorites that year, and I also did a Netflix TV series based on it that he did. And then more recently, probably his more recent movie before this newest one is Operation Fortune, Ruse de Guerre, or whatever it's called, which is also with Jason Statham.
Okay.
That I watched on a plane up to Hawaii because that's what I kept missing.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic spy movie. It's a fun movie. But this new one is called The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
This looks really cool.
It is based on a true story about essentially the very first secret special forces operation put together, and it says on it that it's based on the writings of Winston Churchill's diary.
Oh, so it could have been real.
No, it was real.
Oh,
it really occurred. These are real people. They show them at the end of the movie. There's a full thing at the end. Yeah.
Well, then it's a proper ending.
Yeah.
I need to watch this
I was going to say that later, but since you mentioned that, yes.
I need to watch
it. Shows
this.
all the different soldiers at the
goodness.
end. So essentially it says Winston Churchill brings these people together because they're in the middle of World War II. So they're fighting Nazis in it too. So it's already makes it fun. But he basically puts together a small group of military people to do a mission that's kind of off the books. Right. So if they're caught, even by the military, the U.S. or the military, they'll be court-martialed because they're going against the government and everybody else, both sides. And they're kind of given carte blanche. And what's interesting, too, is, and there's a reason. Do you know who Ian Fleming is, or Sir Ian Fleming?
Yes, I've heard of the name.
Do you know who it is? Don't look him up. Tell me who you think it is.
I don't know.
Sir Ian Fleming is the person that wrote the James Bond books.
Oh, yes. Okay, I knew this.
So his character is in this movie as one of the officers that is behind this mission. And I don't know if he was actually part of that, but it did say in the credit thing that one of these characters is supposedly who he based the idea of James Bond on.
Oh, wow.
Is one of these people. So they have an officer in the movie that's Ian Fleming, and they introduce him as Ian Fleming, but you don't know who at that time. He's not the James Bond.
It says while Ian Fleming was working with Navy British intelligence during the Second World War, he was involved in the planning of Operation GoldenEye.
That's this. Yep. And then of course he ended up making.
And then he made all these books based on this. Oh my goodness. Okay, it's all coming together.
Yeah. So it's a very interesting twist, but the movie is, even though it has the Guy Ritchie style, it also kind of feels like a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Really?
Because it's a lot of long dialogue tropes. So you have this core team, which is Henry Cavill, which is their leader, Alan Ritchson, who I love, which you recently saw him in that Ordinary Angels movie.
Yes.
He's the guy. He's also Reacher on the TV show.
Yeah, the guy right there, the blonde
with the bow.
guy.
Yeah, and he's he plays a Swedish guy in the movie. He's this big hulking man. He's super sweet until you put him on the battlefield, and he's the guy carving out people's hearts and running around fighting Nazis with a bow and arrow. It's awesome. But you have kind of two stories happening at once. Well, three really, because you have the government who are denying everything, and the 3 or 4 people that actually know what's going on. And you have the other soldiers that are trying to say, the generals or whatever, like, what's going on here? And then you have this mission happening with these people. And if you don't know the guy with the pipe that's on the image there that you probably can't recognize, that's actually Henry Golding.
Oh, I love him. I was going to ask.
Yeah,
that's
Henry
him. Golding.
He's fantastic. He's an explosives expert.
Yeah, most people may remember him from the
Crazy Rich
Asians, but I mean, he also did that Last Christmas movie.
He was in The Gentleman as well.
He was in the G.I. Joe, right?
Yes, he was Snake Eyes.
Yeah. Okay.
But also, what is the girl? Elza, what is her name is?
The main girl?
Yes.
Elsa Garcia or something? Gonzalez.
Isa Gonzalez. What is she from? Is she from Fast and Furious? She's not that girl, is she? Scroll down. Yeah, she was in Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah, so there's two stories. There's her and this guy, and I don't remember the guy's name, but they're on like the recon mission essentially. They're going to figure stuff out. They're infiltrating Nazis. They're like arms dealer type things, and they're doing one thing. Then you have these guys are on the mission, and the whole mission is they have to basically destroy this ship, and I think it's like a supply type ship or whatever. And so that's basically the movie. Is you're kind of following this. It's fantastic. It's great action. It's funny. It's, I don't want to say it's heartfelt, but it kind of is. It's suspenseful. There's some lots of twists and turns. There's Nazis being murdered everywhere. The last half of the movie is just one long action scene that gets bloody or whatever. This will probably end up on my favorite of the year because it's just that fun.
Okay.
Because it's a serious
Wow.
movie, but it's a fun movie. And when I say it's fun, it's just because of some of the banter, and it's a lot of witty banter discussion.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
So it's like her talking to this main Nazi guy, and then these guys talking to each other. But then when it's serious time, it's serious time. And Henry Cavill, I think, does really well with this kind of thing because he's kind of maniacal. Like, he's the leader. He's got the mustache that curls,
Nice.
but with a beard. But as he's walking and killing people, he just has this maniacal laugh. Like, he walks by and he just shoots a guy. And he's like, ha 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 ha. And you're like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? So anyway, it was a great movie. I highly suggest it. It is very violent. It does get a little bloody at times, so just be warned. If you have a problem with Nazis being blown up, don't watch it. There is an end scene, as I mentioned. It does go through and show a photo of each of the main people, and tell what happened to them, what they stayed involved with, some of them how they died, some of what they did with their careers.
That's awesome.
That
That's
kind of
the
thing.
best
So,
thing to do
yeah,
in any
so-
of these movies.
So it kind of confirms that, oh yeah, these people really are real.
So excited to see
It does come off as like a one-off movie, but it is the kind of thing that I would love to see,
more
like
adventures.
unofficial movies that, because I don't know if these same people did more missions together or if they all went off to different missions and stuff. But I'd love to see these guys back together just to wreak havoc on somebody.
Yeah, that sounds
So
good.
anyway, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is in theaters now. It's fantastic.
Okay. Next on our list, one that I feel like people are really split on this movie right now. It's very strange. So we are talking about the new Rebel Moon movie. It came to Netflix this week. This is part 2, The Scargiver.
Now, as I mentioned in the last time we talked about the first one, if you don't know, before people start, I still see so many people talking about this
That's
Star
such
Wars.
a ripoff.
This was pitched as a Star Wars film to Lucasfilm by Zack Snyder years ago. It was announced, I believe, that they were going to do the movie, and then it got changed, and so he retooled it to his own franchise. So that's why there are a lot of elements that you watch it comes off kind of Star Wars, and there's a lot of elements that you can see were borrowed from other sci-fi franchises, and I am totally here for that. I'm fine with that. The first movie, I think we both enjoyed.
Yeah.
It's kind of set up. I didn't understand a lot of the hate for the first one.
Yeah, I liked it. It's fun. It's just a new adventure. Maybe people aren't into new things.
Well, I get there's some
know.
elements that was a little bit slow pacing at times. I know there was some stuff like the build up with Jeremy the robot, and then they didn't do anything with him, and I was that upset.
James the robot.
I thought they called him Jeremy at some point.
It's Jimmy.
Jimmy. That's what. Okay. Anyway, but there was kind of the setup to build the things, and then but I enjoyed the first one for unabashedly enjoyed the first one. Even when I rewatched it to prepare for this one, I had a great time the second time.
Yeah, I liked it.
So we were excited to watch the new one. Before I say anything about my thoughts on it, what did you think of the new one?
I really enjoyed it because I feel like it kind of left us on a cliffhanger. Obviously, we needed to know what was going to happen. I liked it. I'm a fan of what's her name, Sophia Boutella. Anyway,
I'm a fan too, but I think we're fans for different reasons.
Goodness,
I actually like her as an actress too. But.
No, but we needed to pick up the story. We needed to know what was going to happen. And having them back, and they're back, and now we're getting ready to fight. Like, it's the anticipation of this big fight that's going to happen. And seeing everyone come together, and I liked it. What's wrong with people?
I did thoroughly enjoy this movie, but I
Uh-huh.
do understand some of the issues and trepidation because it's slow as hell for way too long.
For the beginning part, there's a lot of talky.
It's like 45 minutes or so of just nothing's happening. Like, their dialogue, they're cutting corn, there's training, and I get the importance of some of
the
it.
dialogue was necessary because
Yes.
they're sharing very quickly. Each one's sharing their backstories,
And
right?
that scene, while one of the better scenes of the movie, I think is where the movie went wrong. Because knowing that, and especially since he's been verbally saying he's planning to make 4 to 6 of these, and they've even talked about spin-off films and stuff, I think for the amount of time we spent, I would have much rather spent a little more time with each of those characters for their backstory instead of the quick snippets they give us. Because the snippets were interesting for every one of them. But instead, we spent a lot of time watching them chop down corn.
Yeah, the corn was a lot.
You
Like that
know,
was 20 minutes. It could have been 10.
Yeah, which I get everything had purpose, but I think the things that were stretched too long didn't need to be that long, and the things that we needed to be trimmed and get a little, sometimes we didn't get. I didn't hate it. I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I can just see this being this. You know what this movie felt like Dune to me, where important things are happening, things are being discussed, things. But I'm like, let's get on with it.
Yeah.
At least with Dune, after revisiting it and then seeing the second movie, that sets everything up for the second movie. Like, I honestly think, I'm probably going to be wrong because every time I think you're going to like it, I'm wrong. But I think you're going to enjoy Dune Part 2 way more than Part 1, and it'll be like Top Gun.
Where it makes it better.
This one, I think you got all the buildup in the first movie. So in the second one, you're ready for the war and the battles and all this stuff, and you're not getting any of it until like the last act of the movie.
Half, yeah. But I was okay with it. I mean, I feel like in the first movie, we get little snippets of each person, but it's from the perspective of, I heard this person did this. So people are telling the stories of what they believe the hero character of each one to be. And in this one, they're telling their real actual story.
Which is why I
think
it's
very compelling and moving.
Which is why I think it was more important to spend a little more time on that element, as opposed to the chopping the corn. And
the corn was
we do a lot of training.
The preparing was a lot. The training, I get it.
The training's fine, but they never showed, at least to me, they never showed anything in the training that was really would make me believe that they were ready. It was kind of haphazard training stuff.
Yeah.
I think we got more detail with them chopping corn and bagging and doing the work. But it was important to what they were setting up. But, I think it was trying to set the plight of these people and all this stuff.
But at least the one thing they did do right is they avoided the Titanic effect. They did give me enough of each person that I cared. If something happened to one of these characters, I'm not going to tell you what.
Except
I
Jimmy.
did care.
I think Jimmy was still robbed again.
I feel like Jimmy, though, purposely has set himself apart. But we get to understand. He tells us why.
Yeah, I get it. But I think that it was a Captain Phasma situation where we all get the anticipation of this character. We know this character is a badass. We know this character is going to do something fantastic. And the guys in the second movie, every scene is in is excellent. It's great sequences. A little bit of fighting it is excellent. But he's in the movie for what? 10 minutes tops,
10, 15. I mean, he's narrating, but
I know, but I'm talking about physically on screen and doing the battle. He shows up and he does his thing, and clearly with the setup, we're going to get more of him in the next picture. But it's like, you did this to us in the first one, and then this one was kind of the Captain Phasma role of, you got build up, and then it shows up in the second movie and doesn't really do a lot, And so I think that was a missed opportunity, but I understood the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think since they brought it back to that same planet, we could have invested that character a little bit earlier on. Maybe not the whole movie, but a little earlier than we got it, and then let it do a few things here and there before leading into the big reveal kind of thing,
Yeah, but I mean, who knows? We don't know what the plan is, though. Like you said, I think it's going to be he'll be more prominent in the next one.
Yeah.
How many parts is this going to be?
Well, he recently saw, or I saw a thing that he said that he has, his mentality is up 5 to 6. But we'll see if that happens. I think he's leaving to go do something different next, I think, or what he working on something different, and then apparently going to come back. They're basically going to wait and see how this one does, because the first one did fantastic.
Yeah.
But it was also divided, so we'll see how many people. Like, here's the thing too: is rating and viewership is a little bit different on streaming.
Yeah.
So you can watch it and completely hate it, but if you watched it,
it counts.
It gets the numbers.
Yeah, it counts.
So,
it's like, what I'm going to see what's the top 10.
Like, I know somebody else, a friend of ours, watched that we discussed a little bit. And they hated every aspect of this movie. And they thought the whole thing was horrible. And I'm like, I kind of disagree. But again, it's all perspective.
Yeah.
Another friend of mine hated this movie that we loved.
Yeah.
And
that's okay. I mean,
it is what it is. I don't argue with anybody that dislikes a movie, because you never know.
Yeah. I mean, it's not up there yet, but we'll see.
Well, I don't think we'll have it until next week sometime.
Yeah.
Probably.
So we'll see.
It is long again. It's still only 2 hours, but
there's about 15-20 minutes we could trim.
Here's the thing, though, and it baffles me why they don't just release these in the first place, other than I know they're trying to bring more people, and I'm sure we're going to rewatch them. But later this year, we're getting director cuts of both parts.
Oh.
Which supposedly has about an hour more movie in each film. So they may be completely different movies at that point. you know, and I don't
Why don't
understand.
they just go with that version?
I don't know. I mean, sometimes I know that networks and studios
They
get
won't
involved and
approve,
say,
like,
"Hey,
it
we
can't be
only
that
want this
long.
amount and this." But when you have a success for the first one, and they said, "Okay, we'll be releasing a director's cut later," okay, you know it's a success now. You know people now want this. Then why not just go ahead and release it? I don't know. There's probably reasons that, because Zack Snyder's been running around saying we're going to drop them both, but I'm like, I don't. I've never understood. You know, unless he's going to now buy into the Snyder cut of everything. You know, because Justice League was, because it's kind of a Justice League. It makes me interested if it's going to be a Justice League scenario where, even though different. The Justice League situation was Joss Whedon came in and changed the movie and did his own thing with it, and so it was a different idea. This is the same director doing it twice, but is it going to be two different movies like those are? So
I don't know. Anyways, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun.
Maybe those things that I'm wanting are in that missing hour.
Maybe so. There's a few slow bits here and there, but overall, it's a really good movie. There's way more action in this one. Or is it the same?
I think this has less action.
I felt like
but
more.
It has
Maybe it's a bigger scale.
It has a bigger scale at the end act, even though it still felt. I felt like it felt like Zack Snyder at the end of this. I didn't think it'd take as many chances on this last act. Where the first one, I think you got a little more creatures and a little different things. It was like Spider Lady and all that stuff. Yeah. That kind of was a lot cooler. Where this one it was so focused on this core group and doing the story what you need to, that it kind of felt a little generic. I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong, but I
liked it.
It is what it is.
I liked it.
Decide for yourself. If you like the first one, give the second one a chance. If you hated the first one, you're probably going to hate the second one. But you never know, because I didn't like Dune, and I thoroughly enjoyed Dune Part 2.
Who knows? That's it.
So I guess that's it?
Yeah,
that's all we talked about today. Isn't it?
Over to you, buddy.
Oh, okay. This is kind of not a big week, but there's a few good things. We got The Departed. It's getting the 4K treatment, which that's the movie she thought we were going to talk about, the DiCaprio movie or something.
I got confused.
But we didn't get a chance for her to watch it yet. So we'll talk about that next week. The Jason Statham movie, The Beekeeper, hits 4K this week. And we have both The Beekeeper and The Departed up on giveaways on our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com.
The Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2 is coming out this week.
Okay.
So we can dive back into that one.
That first one made me cry. I was crying all over the place. Yes, The Flash made me cry. If you didn't see it, you need to watch it.
So, and then there's a lot of other old releases and things like this coming up. It's kind of a small week.
All right. Well, coming out this week online or at the theaters. Tomorrow, on Monday, there is a new Disney Plus documentary called Tiger. Obviously, it's about tigers. I'm so excited. I'll be watching it.
Oh, it's not about Tiger Woods?
No.
Okay,
coming out on Tuesday to video, demand, and digital is a movie called Downtown Owl with Vanessa Hudgens, looks like. It's basically a weird dystopian future of this city called Owl in North Dakota, but it says the city doesn't really exist. They don't have cable. They don't have pop culture. But what they do have is a highly alcoholic population that they just work hard and then they die. And
so it's Garland.
Pretty much. And then it says, but it's not nearly as awful as it sounds, because sometimes it's perfect. Seems very odd and strange. Very interesting. Also on video, demand, a digital movie called To the Moon and Back. This is interesting. This girl, her father dies, and after he dies, she discovers that he had written a screenplay for a space opera. And so this is, I think, 80s, 90s time period, because she has a VHS camera, and she's like, I'm going to make this movie that my dad wrote. So that seems really fun. Coming out on Thursday, the Netflix movie of the week is City Hunter. It's based in Tokyo, where this guy works and his job is to clean up all of the trouble happening in the underworld. But he has it feels like some anxiety issues, and he's trying to just stay calm and cool and deal with all of these issues. But he's also kind of freaking out, I think, is what it feels like.
I'll also let you know that City Hunter is based on a anime comic or anime movie. Jackie Chan did a City Hunter movie years ago. That's the movie that it's not a good movie, but it has okay fighting. But that's the one, if you've ever seen the clips of Jackie Chan and Gary Daniels fighting, and they're dressed up as the Street Fighter characters.
Yes,
dressed as Chun-Li.
Yes, with the little
that's
braids.
From City Hunter.
Oh, okay.
That's not this one, but
no, but still. All right, coming out Friday in theaters, a movie called Unsung Hero.
It's all about me.
Okay. It's this man and a successful music company collapses, and his family has to move from Australia to the United States. Is a drama based on a true story. Two of the most successful acts in inspirational music history: Grammy Award-winning artist King and Country Rebecca St. James. So it's interesting if this is the story of them. So we'll see. Also coming to theaters, a movie called Challengers. This is the one with Zendaya and the tennis players. And I'm tired of seeing the previews. Let's just watch this movie already. Basically, she was a high-level tennis player, went out on injury. So then she transforms her husband into a famous Grand Slam champion, but challenges him to go play a challenger event, which is a low-level pro tournament, and comes face-to-face with his ex-best friend and her former flame.
Well, remember, I believe from the trailer, it looks like they have like a throuple thing going on.
Well, back in the day.
Yeah, so I mean, that's what makes it weird. It looked like there's some threesome action.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Coming out this week to Paramount Plus. I know you're excited. The new limited series, Knuckles, from the Sonic the Hedgehog series. So it's about Knuckles doing some things.
And that movie we need to talk about the next one real quick, but hold on. Yeah, Knuckles is for you don't know, it's not a animated thing. It's a spinoff from the Sonic movies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Idris Elba returning as Knuckles. I'm very excited, and I think they're dropping all the episodes at once.
Oh, fun!
So
even better. We'll also be talking about this Boy Kills World. It's a dystopian fever dream action film. What does that even mean? There's a Scargiver.
That movie looks fantastic. If you can find it, I know it's going to be limited. If I can find it, we're going to see it because it's the Scargiver guy that played.
This is Bill Scargiver.
Bill, thank you. It's very video game like. It looks like just a hyper violent, bloody fight movie. It looks like a blast.
Also coming out on video demand and digital. This is interesting. Bloodline Killer. It says it's a terrifying horror thriller that follows this girl as she attempts to rebuild her shattered life after the murder of her family at the hands of this crazy killer who happens to be her deranged and obsessed cousin. That's creepy. Let's see. Cash Out. It's an intense thriller with John Travolta. So that's why I was like, we'll see. What else? Coming out to Shudder this week. I kind of want to see it, and I'm kind of freaking out. It's a movie called Infested.
Oh, Lord.
It's this man that collects exotic animals of all types, and he ends up buying this terrifying poisonous spider that gets out of its box, of course, and suddenly the entire apartment building is covered with webs and mini spiders chasing people, and I'm freaking out, but I want to see it. I think that's it for this week. Tell me about the contest, babe.
Excuse me, sorry. I'll start watching Jim Lee draw. Most of the contests, same things, other than I think the couple, but I don't remember if we had them last week or not. But we still have some copies of Donnie and Doesn't Fight and Polar Rescue. The new Jason Statham, where he does fight a lot of fighting.
Mm-hmm.
The Beekeeper, which we loved. I hope that becomes a franchise. Some Baby Assassins Part 2, where they fight. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, they sort of fight. I guess different water alien people and each other. We also have a couple copies left of Wonka where they don't fight, but they do sing and dance and eat lots of chocolate. And finally, The Departed on 4K, which is a crime thriller based on infernal affairs, if you've never seen it.
Okay. Well, I guess that's it, friends. Well, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. We will see you next week. There you go. I'm going to turn on a slide. Goodbye.
Bye. But